This hotspot has two antennas on it. Let's go take a look inside and figure out why that's important. We have bubble wrap, my favorite. Bubble wrap jewelry. Bubble wrap bracelet. Nice. It's actually a nice quality USB data cable. So this should be an OTG, an on-the-go cable for micro USB to power the Pi 02W that should be in this machine, and USB-A 3.2, so the higher speed quality as well. And it's also nicely braided because that kind of stuff matters. You get a little tiny bit of instructions and troubleshooting and whatnot. Let's see, what do we have in here that's tasty? Really? It's like the exact size. There we go. All right. Anti-static bag. Two right angle connectors in case you wanted to set it like that and have the antennas go up, or set it like this and have the antennas go up. And of course, you get those two antennas that I mentioned. And then, oh, SD card? I want to get inside this thing. Time for the big tools. It's like a friction fit. And I always try to not break things more by trying to take them apart than I would by just, at first do no harm. And that's exactly what this tool is designed for. They call it a spudger, which is kind of a weird name to me. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. And since I have the screwdriver kit out, I can unscrew that Pi hat. You guys have seen the screwdriver kit before. It comes in very handy. That screw was loose. It comes in very handy for projects like this where I want to have the ability to take things apart. That screw was loose too. Take things apart on the bench and make sure that they all work. So this is an entirely new design of hat because it has the dual antenna ports on it. The LEDs are over here, and then the OLED screen is there. Because if you recall, on the other hats, it's actually off-center a little bit more. Yeah, it's actually off-centered a little bit more. I had to look at mine, which were behind the camera. And the LED status lights go up vertically. There's a flash button and a reset button there. Those are the smallest little buttons I have ever seen. Aren't they cute? And we've got a Pi 02W. Those screws were at least screwed down all the way. And they appear to be using a decent quality, decent size flash drive. I'm shocked. I expected this to be some knockoff, no-name flash drive. And we've got heat sinks on the main processor. And we have a heat sink on the main processor. That's nice. And then on the back, it says Raspberry Pi 02W, which is actually what you need. The Raspberry Pi Zero is a single-core processor-based single-board computer, and the 02W is a quad-core. And the 02W is actually fast enough to get this done because Pi-Star software is not the most responsive software on the planet. So I'm going to put this back together. We're going to boot it up, take a first look, and see what software it's got on it. When you first turn this thing on, it's going to expand its file system to take up all of the space on that massive 32 gig SD card that they gave you, which is actually a nice brand name SD card. I was kind of shocked. I said it again. That's how shocked I was. After that, it's going to reboot one more time. It's going to come back up, and it's going to show itself up as if it were a Wi-Fi network all on its own, because it is at this point. And you can run with it like this forever if you want to. It never needs to connect to the internet. Sometimes some things are a little helpful if it does, like updating rooms and so forth that you might want to join depending on which network you're on. But once you connect to the network, it's doing this thing, which is really cool. It popped up what's called a captive portal. And this is allowing me to go in and mess with it. So you can see that out of the box, it's configured for DMR. DMR net is enabled. You can run different networks on this: D-Star, DMR, M17, NXDN, P25, YSF, DMR cross mode, YSF cross mode, FM. I guess you could have it repeat analog. Might have to play with that. POXAG. POXAG is those old pagers, so you could actually run a pager system off of this if you wanted to. And then here's all the different back-end networks. So you can actually connect this and have it work as a repeater because it's got the dual antennas, the two antennas on there. And you could repeat DMR at 1 watt if you wanted to, at milliwatts if you wanted to. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but hams are creative. We'll find a way to make something useful out of that. Or you can connect it up to any one of the internet-connected backbones to connect you with your technician license only worldwide to a whole bunch of really interesting rooms like ATV and RV and people who are trying to be off-grid and things like that. You can do that. It comes out of the box at 438, 800 megahertz. It is running the firmware version of HS Hat 1.5.2. You can upgrade that Really simple command. It's configured for nobody in particular's DMR ID. Somebody probably does own that, but it ain't you and it ain't me. All right, from here, we want to go into admin. And so now I have gotten into the configuration, and this is where you want to go through and make all of these settings changes. I wanted to show you the captive portal. I wanted to show you how easy it was to get set up. And now I'll do one more thing. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I will show you, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I'll show you how to configure this thing to get onto your own wireless network. At the bottom of the page here under the configuration tab is configure Wi-Fi. So if I hit configure, it's going to ask me what country, and I want to pick US if I'm in the US, or whatever country you happen to be in. And then I want to scan for networks. And that's my operating system warning me that it's not secure. It's now found a bunch of networks that are in the area, including one of which is mine. I'm going to hit select, and then it wants my password. And this is you telling the Raspberry Pi computer what your local Wi-Fi password is. This is not you telling some internet service somewhere what your password is. And then you hit save and connect. But before I do that, it went back to JP. I'm going to switch it back to US. So be aware of that. Now I'm going to hit save and connect. And this whole thing is going to reboot, and it's going to come back up on my own personal network. And now we've got this thing configured on my own Wi-Fi, and I brought it up in my own web browser by going to pistar.lan. For me, it did take a little bit of time, and after running out of patience, I unplugged it and plugged it back in, and we're back up and running. From here, you click on the admin button. Pistar is the username, and Raspberry is the password. And now you're into the admin mode where you can do all that same stuff that I was showing you before. There's even an expert mode with a whole bunch of options up here at the top for you. So I guess the real question becomes, why do we actually care about having two antennas instead of just one antenna? Besides that little repeater thing that I mentioned before that I can't personally figure out a reason to have set up, there are also a couple of other things you can do. With DMR having 2 time slots, you can have 1 time slot on each antenna, which really means that you can monitor 2 talk groups at the same time if you wanted to. I don't know why you'd want to, but you could. If they're high traffic talk groups, it's just 2 people talking at the same time or more, and you can't make any sense of it. But if they're low volume talk groups, then you'd be alerted when one of them is active and one of them isn't. And if you have one of those radios that has 2 PTT buttons, then you can actually talk on either one of those as well. Another cool thing you can do with this is if you had multiple DMR networks, for example, TGIF and BrandMeister, you could connect to both of them at the same time on a single hotspot. But you got to be careful, because with 2 antennas, as you know, you can actually desense yourself. And you can always leave one control channel open to listen for your commands from your HT, so you can break out of a talk group that you got stuck in a long conversation that you didn't want to be a part of. I'm not really sure how much of a benefit this has for other digital voice modes like M17, YSF, or D-Star. I've got links down in the description for where to get more information on this hotspot. If you'd like to go along on the journey of getting on DMR, then I've got plenty of videos for you there, or getting on YSF. And one of these days, I might get around to D-Star. I'll leave the YSF video here and the DMR video here. And when that D-Star video comes out, well, you know, hit that subscribe button. You'll see it. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over in one of those other videos.